real good chance to be 8-7 by Sunday afternoon if they just, I don't even want to call it their A game. If they bring their B- game, they're going to beat these two teams.
The return of football 24/7 with NFL insider John McMullen across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel must mean that there's a game in sight within the next 24, 48, or 72 hours. Good to be back with John McMullen. We're all presented by Stateside Vodka. Game tomorrow, Tuesday night football game down at the Link, a 7 p.m. kickoff. The team now ready for the Washington football team, or at least I think they're ready. Johnny Mac, the team went back to work after getting ready for the game, went back to work, and now are on the doorstep of the game. So let's start there with what practice today. What was happening in terms of getting ready for turning this into a normal lead up to the game, a normal routine. That's the word I was looking for.
Well, today was a Saturday for the Eagles. Typical before the game day type of atmosphere. So they had a walkthrough and they had situational meetings. So basically they shifted their week a little bit when they had to and pushed this back essentially 48 hours. So what they would typically do on a Saturday before a Sunday game, they did today. And hopefully we get the kickoff. I never say anything is 100% certain in today's world, but we're finally going to see the Philadelphia Eagles against the Washington football team. And I know a lot of fans were upset about the league and pushing things back, but there wasn't at least one positive note in that Jalen Hurts went from questionable because he was going to be listed as questionable on Sunday to a full go on Tuesday. So he is expected to start on Tuesday night against the Washington football team.
And the importance of this game, and sometimes because of all the noise and because of the amount of time that has separated the last football game, Johnny, help us kind of focus back in a little bit on the significance, on the importance of this game. You have the Giants up next. You go to Washington right after January 1st, and then, of course, end up with the Cowboys. But one thing that hasn't changed, there's still a lot of jostling going on for a playoff spot.
Yeah, no question. I mean, this is a big game from a playoff standpoint. I mean, you look at the Saints upsetting Tampa Bay was not a positive from the Eagles' perspective, but still a good chance to make the playoffs. Certainly if they win out. I mean, if everybody wins out, they'd be in good shape. You don't expect that from teams near 500 or 6-7 as the Eagles and Washington football team will be in there. But no question, the team that loses this game will be really up against it from a prediction standpoint. You know, you have all these predictive analytics sites, 538, which is big politically, the New York Times. They all do the predictions, the projections. The Eagles lose this game, it's not good. It gets even worse if Minnesota wins tonight. Later, as we tape this on Monday night, they'll play the Chicago Bears. If they win it, still in the mix, still have a solid chance. You got to hope New Orleans loses at 1 point. But that, again, is likely. And with Taysom Hill playing quarterback, I can't imagine they win out, even though they do have 3 winnable games. But you got to keep winning, Krause. You got to win. And the Eagles have 2 games over the next week. Remember, short week now with the New York Giants after the Washington football team. And, Washington is still dealing with a COVID list well into the double digits. If you want to look forward, the New York Giants shut down Daniel Jones today. He's on injured reserve. He's out for the season. So they'll likely be starting Jake Fromm on Sunday. Real good chance to be 8-7 by Sunday afternoon if they just, I don't even want to call it their A game. If they bring their B- game, they're going to beat these two teams.
Boy, 8-7 with 2 on the door or 2 on the heels of 8-7. All of a sudden, can you imagine this football team finishing it up at 10-7 in Nick Sirianni's first season?
Yeah, and they're going to make the playoffs if they finish it up 10-7. Now, again, things didn't go great for the Eagles on Sunday. Most people expected Tampa Bay to beat New Orleans, and that would have wiped them out from the Saints. I'm talking about from really any relative relevancy in the playoff race. All of a sudden, they get that win, and they're the leader in the clubhouse, so to speak, for that 7th and final spot. That's how things can change so quickly. Also, it hurt from the standpoint of Dallas is now in the mix for that number 1 seed. So if you start looking ahead to week 18 and Dallas keeps winning, they might have something to play for. And that makes that week 18, that final game, much, much more difficult because even though Eagles fans don't want to hear it, that's a really good football team, the Dallas Cowboys right now. So, if you talk about winning out, and look, there's a lot of steps. You got to win 3 games before you even get there. But the next 3 games are really, really winnable games. It's not that Washington is a bad football team. They're just in a bad spot from COVID. And they would have been difficult games under different circumstances. And we'll see about the second one down in D.C. The New York Giants, man, they're already kicking themselves for losing to the Giants up at MetLife Stadium. If they lose to the Giants again, well, they don't deserve to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That team is horrible. That organization is horrible. And now they don't have their quarterback, who's not even that good. Now they're playing with a guy who was in Buffalo a couple of weeks ago on the practice squad. So, you got to win a game like that.
Johnny, coming into this football game, and again, when you try and just kind of zero in and talk about football, coming into the game against Washington before everything that caused the rescheduling and the adjustments of the lineups and everything else, the Eagles appeared to potentially be the better team coming into the game. They might be the better team now when they ultimately kick off and play the game, but would you agree with that coming into the game on the schedule 10 days ago or however long ago it was? The Eagles were the better football team comparing to the Washington football team.
I think they were very close, and I expected them to split, to be honest. A home and home series. I think they're about the same. But that's a Washington football team with their starting quarterback, who, remember, was supposed to be the backup, because if you go way back, it was Ryan Fitzpatrick who was going to be the starter. So now you lose Taylor Heineke, so you're on your 3rd string quarterback. But, that's Kyle Allen, and he's on the COVID list as well. So now you're picking up Garrett Gilbert off the New England practice squad, and it's more likely than not, as we tape this, that he's going to be the starter on Tuesday night. So certainly in the current incarnation, the Eagles are not just better, they're significantly better. If everybody was at 100%, these two teams are pretty evenly matched, to be honest.
Now, given that scenario, does that mean the Eagle defense is going to have a field day tomorrow night? I almost hate to expect it, because it's been kind of a crazy year. Even Tom Brady and Tampa Bay getting shut out. It's been one of those seasons. But if they're significantly better than the opponents they're lining up against, man, that defense should have a field day tomorrow night.
Well, I mean, it's tough to play in this league without a quarterback. So, I mean, the Washington football team right now doesn't have a competent option at quarterback. So, if the Eagles give up anything over mid-teens, I would say anything over 13 points, I would call it a disappointment. I really would. Now, you're going to have to talk about, if you're the Washington football team, you're going to have to talk about special teams plays, maybe a defensive, maybe a turnover that gets you a short field. If the Eagles defense gives up long, lengthy drives, yeah, you got a right to criticize them in this type of situation. I mean, Brandon Sheriff, the Washington football team best offensive lineman, he went on the COVID list today. They're likely not going to have him. Charles Leno, they're not going to have. J.D. McKissick was ruled out today. He's their third down back and a big part of their passing offense. He's been out with a concussion. He continues to be out. Curtis Samuel is out. Terry McLaurin's about the only positive. He's going to play, but Terry's a very good football player, and he's been an Eagles killer in the past. You need somebody to get you the football. I mean, fourth string quarterback in a league where you're usually dead in the water if you got to play your backup. They're on their fourth string quarterback, who I said last week, Krause, was in New England on their practice squad. So not only is it a fourth string quarterback, it's a fourth string quarterback who's been in the offense for less than a week. I mean, put it on a tee. That's what the Eagles have this week.
That's what we will watch on a Tuesday night here in Philadelphia. Johnny Mac, let's talk offensively. You mentioned that the additional delay in this football game allowed for Jalen Hurts now to move into a position where he potentially, or perhaps you can say, he will start the football game tomorrow. What does that mean? For Jalen? It's been a long time. Seems like a long time since he took a snap.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it hasn't been that long. It hasn't been that
December.
That
long, they had the bye week, and obviously he was not able to play against the New York Jets with the high ankle sprain, suffered late in the game against the Giants. So, you might see a little bit of rust from the offense early in the game. Washington was able to get Jonathan Allen, who's by far probably their best player, off the COVID list. He's a significant issue, made worse by the fact the Eagles are probably not going to have Landon Dickerson. He's on the COVID list. And Jonathan Allen is a defensive tackle. So the Eagles are down to Nate Herbig and Sua Opeta. That might be a little bit of an issue, but I do expect that the Eagles should be able to do enough against this football team which, there's little chance that they're not going to be down double-digit players. And, you have to take advantage of that situation if you're the Philadelphia Eagles.
And if you're doing that, John, if you're taking advantage of that scenario, what does that mean? Does that mean turn up the gas, turn up the heat, blow them out of the building?
Well, you want to blow them out. You don't want to give them any hope. You want to get them down early and make them understand they don't have a chance. The worst thing you can do is keep a team like that in the football game and say, something crazy happens in the fourth quarter, tip ball, punt return. Our old friend DeAndre Carter will be back as the Washington football team returner. Last thing you want is something like that in the fourth quarter. Look, this team is a few weeks out of losing to the New York Giants, who are an abject disaster. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is a great football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. They've proven they can lose to really, really bad football teams if they don't bring their A game, so to speak. Now, in this type of situation, though, because of look, if Washington came in here completely healthy, few issues with the virus, as I said, they're pretty evenly matched. And, it probably comes down to execution, who performs better on that given game day. Here, the Eagles have a chance and have an opportunity to take advantage of a unique situation, and they need to do it. And they need to do it, and they need to do it emphatically, and make sure that team doesn't get it in its head that we can win this game, because Jonathan Allen can make a play on you. And if he makes a play and it's a close game in the fourth quarter, all of a sudden you're thinking the same way you were thinking after the New York Giants game. So you want to get them down early. You want the foot on the throat, so to speak, and you want to end it and make sure there's no questions.
Football 24/7 with NFL insider John McMullen across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. You still have time to go to statesidevodka.com, get some stateside vodka soda for the holidays. Just use the keyword JAKIB. You'll pick up 15%, like so many of our subscribers. And if you're in Pennsylvania, they'll deliver it right to your door before kickoff tomorrow night. Again, Eagles and the Washington football game, or the Washington football team, Johnny Mack will check in before the game at halftime, and then on the live post-game show, Johnny Mack will connect with Derek Gunn, Mark Farzetta, and Devin Caney tomorrow night as the Eagles finally get to work. I don't know what the crowd will be, Johnny Mack, in the stadium tomorrow night because of the change and because of the holiday. I'm sure there are so many fans that would want to go but can't go or whatever, so I don't know what the crowd will be like tomorrow. Will they be angry? Will they be their normal Eagle self when they're there? Just a sidebar curiosity. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Jody brought this up on Birds 365, and I didn't really think that way about Eagles fans getting inconvenienced, and I was honest to Jody about that because the NFL doesn't think that way, and they don't care about the logistics. They just expect people to show up, and I think they will in Philadelphia. They might be a little bit late. Typically at a night game, they're going to get there early. They're going to be ready to go. They're going to be having their favorite stateside vodka beverage.
There you go, Johnny Mack.
All that kind of stuff. I think maybe that gets scaled back a little bit. but I don't think you're going to see a lot of empty seats at Lincoln Financial Field. If some people can't make it, they'll sell their tickets to somebody who wants to come, or they'll give their tickets to somebody who wants to come. I don't think you have to worry about empty seats at Lincoln Financial Field, especially in a playoff race. Playoffs are still a lot.
No doubt. And anybody who's holding onto a ticket and you can't go to the game, treat somebody who may never get another opportunity to see a professional football game. Be a great gesture on a holiday week. Johnny Mac on Football 24/7 here across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. We'll see you right back on Birds 365 tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow morning, game day edition. You don't get a lot of game day editions at Birds 365.
You do not. That's Sunday, a good point. So, yeah. That is a good point. So game day edition of Birds 365, Jody Mack and Johnny Mack. We'll see you tomorrow night, Johnny Mack, hopefully talking about, the team doing what they were supposed to do. All right, good stuff from John McMullen. We thank everybody, of course, for tuning in to the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Don't forget, John, like,
share, and subscribe.
All right, good stuff. See you next time, everybody.